So what does a roadmap for profound personal transformation actually look like? Today, we're going to deconstruct a pretty remarkable real-world care plan. It's a faith-based framework designed to help someone who is in a deep, deep crisis. Honestly, for anyone in counseling, social work, or ministry, this is basically a masterclass in how to build a plan for structured, compassionate, and lasting change.
This single line from the case file, it's the key to everything. The person we're calling Client A, he isn't just asking for a patch-up job or a quick fix. No, he's asking for what the plan calls redemption-level change, and that's like a complete rewiring of his identity. Understanding that distinction is absolutely critical. The goal isn't just managing bad habits, it's about fostering a deep, soul-level transformation.
So how do you help someone navigate that kind of change? Well, that's exactly our goal here. By breaking down this plan, we're going to learn how to see past the surface-level problems, how to ask the questions that truly matter, and how to identify the exact points where support can be the most effective. This is about moving from being simply helpful to being truly transformative.
Okay, so let's start where any good plan has to, with an honest look at the problem. The plan describes Client A's state as internal fragmentation, which is such a powerful way to put it. It's that feeling of a life that feels like it's just shattering from the inside out.
And this tangle of issues, wow, it perfectly captures the reality of his crisis. This isn't just some simple checklist of problems. It's an interconnected web. We're dealing with a marriage falling apart, secret habits like pornography and overeating, past trauma, and these patterns of anger and panic. But, and this is so important, woven through all of that is a genuine deep desire for change. Recognizing this complexity, not just the individual strands, is the very first step.
So, how in the world do you even begin to untangle a web that complex? Well, the plan's answer is to step back from the individual symptoms and apply a larger framework. It uses a 5-part biblical narrative to make sense of the whole person. This is really where diagnosis ends and true strategy begins.
This 5-part framework is the theological backbone of the entire plan. Let's just walk through it. It starts with creation, affirming his inherent dignity. He's not just the sum of his failures. Then the fall, being honest about the reality of sin, both his own choices and the brokenness of the world around him. Suffering connects his past wounds to his present struggles. And redemption reframes change not as some abstract hope, but as a concrete daily task. And finally, restoration sets the goal, becoming a person of integrity, which is possible no matter what the marital outcome is. You see, this framework provides real hope without offering false promises.
So this framework allows the plan to get to the root issue. And it's not just a collection of bad behaviors. It's what the plan calls a worship disorder. Okay, let's unpack what that means.
This concept is really the engine driving the whole crisis. When Client A's heart is distressed, when he feels rejected or helpless, it goes searching for immediate relief. But instead of patient dependence on God, it grasps for quick fixes. And those false comforts, they're the very behaviors we saw earlier. Pornography, overeating, anger. He's not just making bad choices, he's worshiping the wrong things.
And this right here, this illustrates one of the most critical interventions in the entire plan, teaching the difference between sorrow and shame. For any caregiver, this is huge. Productive sorrow, on the left, that leads to repentance and real change. But destructive shame, on the right, that just leads right back into the cycle of hiding and panic. Your job as a supporter is to help guide them from that destructive cycle into honest grieving. And that is a profound act of care.
Okay, so with that powerful framework in place, we can now see how it all builds into a practical roadmap for transformation. This is really where the theology meets the pavement,
This table is fantastic because it's just so practical. It translates that diagnosis into specific, actionable tasks. Let's look at marital grief, for example. The task isn't fix the marriage. It's to shift from outcome control to faithful conduct before God. That completely reframes what success looks like. It's not about forcing his wife to stay, it's about him learning to act with integrity whatever happens. And that same practical wisdom applies to every single area here. Now, this is crucial. The plan is paced. It recognizes that you can't fix everything all at once. Phase 1 is just about safety and honesty, basically stopping the bleeding. Only then, in Phase 2, does the deeper heart work begin. Phase 3 is all about building new, durable habits. And Phase 4 shifts from just surviving to actually thriving. This isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And that pacing is a masterclass in sustainable care.
This brings us to the absolutely crucial role of the community. A core principle of this plan is that transformation never, ever happens in a vacuum.
The plan mobilizes an entire team because this path is just too hard to walk alone. And for that community, the plan gets incredibly practical. It provides a list of weekly support questions. And notice how specific these are. They're not a vague, "Hey, how are you doing?" A question like, "What kind of father were you this week?" That forces concrete reflection. These questions are tools designed to cut right through the excuses and foster real accountability.
And just as important, the plan provides clear guardrails on what supporters have to avoid. Things like promising quick relief or accepting vague confessions. They're dangerous. Why? Well, because they create false hope and they allow the hiding to continue. These rules prevent well-intentioned supporters from accidentally sabotaging the entire process.
So, with this whole intensive plan in place, how do you know if it's working? This brings us to the markers of genuine change. The plan is very clear that progress isn't measured by big emotional moments or some sudden breakthrough. No, it's measured in the quiet, consistent, observable shifts in daily life. This shows the path of real progress. It starts with small things, right? Like just naming a struggle earlier instead of letting it fester. It grows into obsessing less about outcomes and accepting consequences with dignity. And over time, secrecy loses its power, and he moves from isolation towards a healthy community. This is the slow, steady fruit of genuine change. This final quote just perfectly captures the posture of the caregiver. It's a tightrope walk. As the quote says, you have to be truthful but compassionate, bounded but patient, and, this is key, unwilling to collude with either excuse-making or condemnation. That is an incredibly difficult balance to strike, but it's the very heart of offering this kind of transformative care. And so this entire plan leaves us with a challenge for our own lives and our own work. How do we hold two things in tension at the same time? How do we offer care that is deeply compassionate toward real suffering while also being clear-eyed about personal responsibility? As this case study shows, finding that balance isn't just a good idea, it is the essential task of anyone hoping to offer truly transformational care.